everybody, I'm Tom Vassell.
I'm Milla Cleghorn.
I'm Chris Yee.
And I'm Wendy Yee.
And today we're talking about a game called Woodcraft, in which you're magical, weird, green-haired people.
I think
Are you? Or are you
Don't
like...
make fun of my green hair, Tom.
I think you're little. I think you're very
color.
little too, because they have blueberries
as hats
and
As
currency.
currency.
and hands?
And you're cutting it, whatever.
It's magical.
Yeah, there's magic. There's one moment in this game where there's magic. The rest of it, you could take these little people out and it'd be just some people making things out of wood.
Don't you dare take the theme away from me, Tom.
I think if you took the thing out, very little is there. It'd be a spreadsheet.
Well, I actually disagree on that part.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we'll come back to this.
Excited.
But this is Woodcraft we're talking about. This is the fourth game from Delicious Games, or at least their fourth big game. They came on the scene with Underwater Cities, and that's very, very popular. Is this one as popular? It was at Essen, but let's see if it's good. But first, let's see how it plays.
In Woodcraft, we're trying to earn the most victory points, which are acorns over here. We do that by taking actions on this circular saw and moving up these income tracks, reputation tracks. We also want to improve our board and process some wood, maybe grow some wood on these trees, get some helpers, all that jazz, so that eventually we can fulfill these contracts down here, gaining points and money, aka blueberries, as well as maybe some other bonuses and stuff. There's also a way to buy victory points throughout the game and fulfill some of these public contracts down here as well for endgame points. Let's start off taking a look at this wheel over here. All of these little pieces of wood are individual actions, and as you take an action, you take the bonuses underneath and any bonuses that may be revealed up top. You take the action and then you scoot it forward to the farthest left open space of the next region. Now, if you ever take an action that's going to move past this long green and black arm over here, you're going to move it to the next quadrant, unlocking some new bonuses, and then scoot this one all the way over as well. Next, let's talk about this income track board over here. This is the round tracker, and every time that you pass one of these income phases, you gain income based on where your cubes are located. So this first track up here is victory points, which are the acorns. You have the money income, which is blueberries, and then down here you have reputation. Reputation is a multiplier for however many contracts you finish at the end of the game. The higher up on this track, the more multiplier you have for that. Also, if you go off the track, you just get extra instant victory points as well. Now, there are some things that you may pass that may give you instant bonuses based on who gets there first, or just simply everybody that gets there eventually. Over here around this victory point track, we have a market of cards that we can purchase from using actions. And up here are contracts. These are additional contracts that you can take. Originally through the game, you'll play for contracts at each one of those income points, but you can also gain some more contracts if you'd like. However, there is a negative if you don't complete them. Down here, we have some helpers. These people right here give you extra bonuses. Sometimes they're once per round, sometimes they're continuous, and sometimes they're just instant benefits. But then also, they have a working reward so that if you use the little gear symbol action, you can get a bonus continuously throughout the game. These three cards right here are endgame scoring cards, and when you complete one of your acorn contracts, you start the game with two of these. You can then choose to either collect one of these by placing one of your tokens on it and claiming it for yourself for endgame scoring, or you can choose to take 5 acorns and 5 money immediately, but not gaining one of these benefits. Next we have over here is the player board. This has a whole lot going on it. This is actually the explanation of a turn. So on your turn, you're going to pip up your dice by 2, any that are down here in planters. You can then take an action. These actions do a whole variety of things. Those are all on that little wheel. You can also spend a lantern to have a free action, or not a free action, a wild action. So you can change any one of these pieces into any action of your choice. You can also do a variety of free actions, which are all listed over here. And these are all these different tiles that can be flipped over and used and turned one time. They will reset at the end of each one of the income phases. You can also spend blueberries or money for points, and that's this track up here. You're allowed to move this once per round. It does get very expensive. but is a lot of points at the end of the game. As well, you can spend 3 lanterns to reflip one of these over. That's an X. You can pop it over and make it usable again. That is very expensive and hard to do. One of the main things you're going to do on your board is upgrade actions. So that's going to be actually adding more of these tiles to your board. You just pay whatever cost is underneath it, and then you take the upgrade action and you can get extra benefits, extra bonuses. You can have multiple use items like more saws, or you can upgrade items so that you have multiple use and they get better. And these basically allow you to do a whole variety of things. This allows you to pip up your dice every round. Saws allow you to take 1 die and turn it into 2 dice of equal value. Glue over here allows you to combine dice. It doesn't matter the color. In fact, if you have different colored woods, it actually is better. So I could combine a 4 and a 1 and make a 5, discarding the extra 1. Over here, this is using scrap wood. You can spend a scrap wood to just pip up a die by 1 or 2 or 4, depending on which of these tools you're going to use. And then you have these special people over here, which I explained earlier, but they have some sort of benefit at the bottom, which may be ongoing or once per round or instantly. And then they have a working benefit up here. If you use one of the gear symbol actions, you can then choose to just take one of these dice and add it into your little wood reserve over here. Now, the very top of this house is for tools. This is just a way to get bonuses and benefits. As you lay tools that are different next to each other, you get the benefit that's between them. You have to start working bottom to top, and so every space above has to be supported by the spaces below. If you have any of the same items, you don't get those benefits. So for example, I would get this benefit because these are different, but I would not get this one because these are the same. Finally, we have the contracts over here. These you will play at each one of the income rounds. They slot on this track based on what's in the upper left-hand corner. And every income phase, these are going to move down. So you get less reward the longer you take to complete them. If they ever fall off the board, you lose 2 reputation, as well as if you don't complete them by the end of the game. Now, to complete them, you fill out what's on the bottom. You need to spend dice exactly as they are shown, as well as any resources, and then you get some sort of benefit on the left. You can get resources, you can get lanterns, money, and victory points, as well as the special acorn cards that have a unique back to them. These allow you to get the endgame scoring objectives and to claim those. Once someone has claimed an endgame scoring objective, no one else can claim it unless they claimed it in the exact same round. At the end of the game, you're going to count up your contracts multiplied by your reputation level. You'll also add up any of these end game scoring benefits, and then you'll take any pips that are on your dice, any resources that you have, add them together, and then they are a 10-to-1 victory point. The person with the most acorns, the most victory points, wins.
I do think the theme in this game is very strong.
Really?
It's all about working with wood. You are putting wood together, gluing wood together. You are cutting wood apart. You are growing trees. I think the wheel doesn't make any sense, but the rest of it is fine.
I disagree. I feel like it was just a lot of kitchen sink kind of mechanisms. I did not
Camilla
think the
probably
theme.
knows the most about woodworking too.
I don't
Out of all
care.
of us. That's
If you know
right.
about woodworking.
Take me to Home
that doesn't
Depot
mean-
and I will show you the theme.
No, it feels like wood. I mean, obviously it doesn't feel like woodworking, but I think the theme works really well.
I think the theme works. I think that there are moments where the theme is completely counterintuitive, in almost a humorous way. Like, I got this plank of wood. I'm gonna plant it in a pot now
Right.
and watch my piece of lumber
Sure, but
grow.
that's the one point where the magic comes in. That's where the magic is. You're planting stuff in the magic.
No, but
They
there
actually
are-
say that in the rule book.
There are some
Oh
trees
my
that do
gosh.
that. I think it's figs that you can plant a branch and it'll grow roots.
Yeah, but not a piece
Same
of
thing with a
lumber.
tomato. Yeah, not a piece
Not
of
a
lumber.
lot of. Here's my
That one
pine
is
plank.
dead.
Watch it grow.
Anyway, I like the theme of the game. It's called woodworking, and that is what you, or woodcraft, and that is what you are doing.
Yeah.
The game has 2 main things about it. It has a wheel, which is not the first time they've used these. This Vladimir Suchi has done the wheel. He did in a game 2 years ago, Praga, something. No one ever says it anything other than Praga.
Praga
Praga
Kapu.
Kapu.
Yeah, Praga.
Praga.
No one calls it anything else. Anyway, that has the wheel too, and then this has manipulation of dice, which is in other games. The wheel's cool, yay, but I like the manipulation of dice because in this game you can manipulate dice in so many different ways, and they're not random. There's random dice that you can buy, but there's almost no randomness to me. I can say I want a 5 dice, there it is, and I can always buy a 6 die. I can then chop that die into 2 pieces. I can then take those pieces and grow them. I really like this. If you like manipulating dice, that's like half this game.
Yeah.
Yeah, the action rondelle I think is good. It's not a gimmick per se. It's a neat little thing to it that is like, oh look, it's a circular saw rondelle kind of a thing. It's a way to select actions. But what I find really interesting about that part is that as the actions progress, that little circular saw piece moves and gives bonuses to the less chosen actions. And then also when actions stack up, there's little bonuses. It's basically like the Puerto Rico thing where no one chose this action this round, put a coin on it. But with 9 actions, you don't want to have to put out 5 coins in a round. So I think that is it's not terribly thematic, but it's a good way to use the action selection wheel for the game.
And I will say I do like that rondelle, the action selection out there, the saw, that it doesn't have luck. You know what you're getting. I'm going to take this action and get this bonus or this action, and you can see it, right? There is no luck. But yet the game still offers you mitigation of that. And I thought that was a nice extra step that it took. You can use the lanterns to, I'm going to use this tile, but I'm actually going to take this other tile's bonus. And so I did like that it's full information, no luck, but still has some mitigation in it. I really thought that brought a neat element to that action selection.
So the other thing I like about the action selection is that it is very hard to block someone out of something. Sure, you can move a tile and they may not get the bonus that they originally wanted, but unless you take that action all the way to the end of what's possible, there's no blocking. So like I know that I can plant a tree if I want to plant a tree on my turn. Chris isn't going to come in there and just be like, haha, I took all the tree planting, you can't do it anymore.
Sounds like Chris must try to be doing that sort of
And
thing.
if
We don't allow
like
magic in our
planting
house,
trees.
Tom.
No
magic.
And if they did do that and kind of blocked that action because they took it to the end, you have a lantern, you can still mitigate it.
Right,
And so
right.
that's a nice give and take.
I have never seen it get that far because the bonuses are too tempting for people, and the lanterns exist.
We did it once.
I think we had it twice in our game.
I've read up on it, and I read that I don't normally read tips and stuff on games, but I was reading about this, and someone was saying the bonuses are not as good as you think they are. You're better off always taking the action you want to take, because if you take an action you don't want just to get bonuses, that's almost like a false reward you're getting.
Yeah.
I think
But it still feels good.
it does. And I think I found more that that's when I would use the lanterns. I want that bonus, but I want that action. Oh, cool, I'll use that lantern. I'm going to get this huge bonus of like 4 things,
Right.
but take this action that's all the way over here. And so that was a neat combo with that.
Right, and the bonuses aren't so powerful that they'll like, which do I do? But if I have 2 very good options, it will inform that decision, which is a nice point. Like, oh, cool, I
nice
get a
way.
scrap, and I get to pip this 5 up to a 6, and then I get to slice it. I love that those little bonuses can make it so that you can have a cascading series of free actions. I'm doing the robot for some reason to represent woodwork. Am I doing this right?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
That's your
Put the saw
circular
down.
saw. I really like how tight the game is, and I know that is a pro and a con for people, but it's just like 14 rounds, and you get that one action every round, and so I appreciate that like from the get-go, I have these 4 contracts in hand, I need to complete these, can I do something else as well? And I think I enjoyed that little bit of a puzzle that there is from the beginning of I'm going to play this card, and I have 3 rounds to finish that if I wanted to have the same bonus that it started with, and I think that's cool.
I will say I like the game a lot, and I think that all the stuff in it is cool. It doesn't feel as tight, I think, just because you have so many ways to mitigate stuff. I do feel that placing the contracts is a slightly clunky mechanism where you're holding 4 in your hand, you're putting out 1 per round. Once you play it, that makes sense, but it is a pain to teach people. Like, keep those in your hand. Later on, you get a contract, you just add it.
Right.
This one, keep in your hand. When can I play it? Soon.
Right.
Like you're forced to play it. Oh, okay. And it just feels the slightest bit wonky doing that. I almost would rather you pass the cards out. I don't know of a better way to do it. I'm just saying that it felt a little odd because I know that was probably my most rules answered
Right.
question that people be like,
Okay.
wait, when do we play a card? Soon.
Right.
You know, during this time.
And yes, you have to. But I don't want these. I forgot about them. Well, you have to. Too bad.
Yeah.
But I'm not
Forget
ready
about
for it.
them.
Oh no. You know. Right. That is.
Did you find the tools mechanism in the little roof area to be used?
Yes.
Yes, I used it.
You can really do that, but you can also ignore it.
I said, yes, I did it and I used it. Was it useful? No.
I don't know. You get a bunch up there, you get so many bonuses.
Yeah,
But
so
to
many
get a bunch up there, like that has to
It's
be your
hard
sole
to do.
focus.
You can get 2 if you move up on both the acorn track and the blueberry track sufficiently. So that's like 1 bonus for sure. And then if you can get a 3rd one from a contract, that's a lot of bonuses all of a sudden.
It's people.
Maybe, but it's like
It's the people that come out. There are some people
really
who give
is, yeah.
lots of tools.
And that's the weird thing to me is that depending on the people and depending on the contracts, you might see no tools the entire game. You might work really hard and get 2 tools
Right.
and 1 connection bonus and be like,
Yeah, I got a
awesome.
reputation.
Oh.
I'm glad that worked out.
great. Yes, I got
Yeah,
this
but I don't know
one
that you're
little thing out of it.
depending on that. Yeah, if I was developing a game, I might have been like, cut that out.
Right.
Absolutely.
But I still had fun doing it because I like tree bonuses. And if you get like 7 tools, holy moly, you get a ton of stuff.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Right. But
I
then-
wish there were a stronger. I wish there were a stronger way that led to more agency on my part.
like a way you could just get a tool.
To say, I want to focus on
Right,
tools. I
yeah.
want to focus on lanterns. I want to focus on these types of. I want to focus on a big income engine. This game. I'm really at the mercy of the cards, which is odd for a game that's this heavy, this thinky, and this. This level of I need to plan out my turns to get a lot done.
This level of procedural and this level
It's been
of
done. Agricola.
Well,
I
think what
mean, there's games that
compounds-
depend on cards.
What I think
Yeah.
that compounds that as well is the fact that you need different tools. You can't have the same tools next to each other if you want those bonuses. And so,
well, you don't need 2 hammers.
well, yeah, maybe I do. Maybe
Why?
I'm
No.
hammer dexterous.
I actually thought that rule was kind of a
was-
who cares
it was-
rule
yeah.
because there's so many different types of tools
Yeah.
that
One of the games that
you
we
have to go out of your
played-
way to get 2 of the same ones almost.
But again,
next
if
to
there's
each
so
other.
few
games we
coming
played,
out.
I had 2 cards that had the same tools in them, and I was
Right.
like, "This is what I can build.
Yeah.
This
You
is what I
shouldn't
have."
have taken those 2 cards.
Well, it's what was available.
Yeah.
Don't tell me what to do, Tom.
No, I do not.
The rulebook does, though.
All right, Chris, what would you give it?
Score-wise, I'm giving this one an 8. I like it a lot. I really love the dice slicing and dicing and gluing. There are some weird, finicky, thematic moments to it. Like glue a yellow die and a brown die, make it your choice, and get 4 points. But if you glue 2 of the same color dice, you don't get the points. Why? That's
like
so
that.
backwards
You like
to me.
that?
I like that rule.
I like it, but I do agree it should be backwards.
Right, yeah. I mean, that's like, here's a solid oak table. Oh, wait, but it has a pine core, so it's
That's
worth
awesome.
more.
It
That
has
doesn't
one
make
pine
sense.
leg on
yeah,
this table.
pine leg makes this table
Guys
worth
have
more.
no
It's just
stain your wood a
imagination.
different
I
color.
my
like it.
gosh.
I like it.
There are some weird thematic
variety.
disconnects. I really like so much of the game. We talk about the rundown, we talk about the dice, all that stuff. This should be higher, but what holds it back for me is the fact that the contracts are too random. You can't focus on tools. You can't focus on lanterns for mitigation. It's weird that it's as random as it is, and that bothers me enough that I can't say that this is an excellent game, but I do really recommend it if you're okay with that. The more I play it, the more I am okay with it, but that should be different in my opinion. So an 8 from me. That sounded kind of negative. I really like the game.
Trash.
All right, what about you?
I'm significantly lower. I'm going to come in at a 6.5 on this one. And I will admit that might be kind of, I'm finding myself recently not wanting to work as hard in my games. I just want to have fun. You know what I mean? And so I feel like this one was a little bit, I liked it the more I played it, getting into the round and kind of getting all the iconography and figuring out a flow. But I just found that the game that I played where there was one player who was really working hard and thinking and would have these turns where they do like 15 combo-tastic things for 1 point or 5 points or whatever. And then I would do the same thing and be able to go like 2 things and get the same amount. And we ended up at the end of the game scoring very, very close together.
So you're saying you're
And so I
smarter
was
than
like,
Chris.
what I'm saying is I'm more efficient.
Well,
no.
Chris beat me by like 20 points one game.
Oh, really?
So, yeah.
No, and I mean, maybe it was a bad game for you. I'm not saying anything like that, but it's just kind of one of those, it just kind of, does it really matter what you do then? We kind of all ended the same place anyway, but it was a lot of like 15 steps to go around your face to find your nose. why not just point to your nose?
That is how I pick my nose.
You know, that is how you pick your
Yeah,
nose. Well,
right
you know,
around.
there
Let's
we
go
go.
over to Wendy.
To
What
each
do
his
you
own.
think?
So I was sitting there debating between an 8.5 and a 9 because I've given a couple heavy Euro Games 9s recently that I've thoroughly enjoyed, and I thoroughly enjoyed this. I think the little bit of change between the 8.5 and the 9 for me is what Chris said about the luck of just sometimes stuff comes out and sometimes it doesn't. But to me, that's like barely a thing for me in the game. It's just a little bit enough to knock it down. But totally an 8.5. I love the action selection. I really enjoy having those choices of how you want to build up your board and how you want to grow your system. I love the gluing the wood together and the chopping it up and the adding, spare scrap wood to it. I just really enjoy all of that that's going on. It's fun, it's tight. Once Chris and I knew it, in a two-player game, we were able to play it in an hour flat. And so I think that it's got some speed to it once you kind of figure out the thinkiness that is definitely there the first time you play.
Yeah, as with most Euro games these days, it definitely plays better with fewer.
Yeah,
That's
for
just
sure.
the way these things
Yeah.
work.
I would
at
not
this
want to
point.
play 4. I'd have zero interest in that.
But I like it too. I'm also giving it 8.5, and I also debate it, moving it to a 9. I just have so much fun playing it. It doesn't matter. Everything else kind of pales. I'm just, every turn I go, what action am I going to take? Whatever action I take, it's going to be fun. Am I going to buy dice? Am I going to plant dice? Am I going to take this die and chop it up and do cool things? Fulfilling a contract is very satisfying. Collecting all this stuff. I need glue and
disagree.
dice. I love that because I also can do it. Like sometimes you play these games and near the end you're like, oh, I can't do this contract. You can plan here. I need 2 1s. I don't have 2 yellow ones. Oh, I have a yellow 6. I'll just chop it up or whatever. I like that. I like thinking, how can I get from what I have to filling that contract out? And I can just take it. I can always take the actions I need. So I found that to be fun. I think you work on your 4 contracts and maybe do a few more, but I'm also not very good at games. So I'm not giving strategy tips. Talk to your lawyer.
No, the score track is like, here's the 150 plus chunk, and I'm like, I'm still a whiles away
under
from getting
100
there.
But this is my second favorite game that they've done so far after Underwater Cities, and it might surpass that for me because this one is just more accessible. I really think I could teach this one pretty easily, except for the weird contract thing. Other than that, though, because stuff makes sense. And I think the wheel is fun for people. So that's Woodcraft.
Awesome.
All right. Until next time, I'm Tom Vassell.
I'm Milla Cleghorn.
I'm Chris Yee.
And I'm Wendy Yee.
Glue the wood. Glue the wood.